Real Madrid's miracle worker, the coach who bends reality. Like, share and subscribe. Episode 71. In the face of Mu Shuai's answer, the scene once again erupted into a wave of sighs. The reporters quickly adjusted the camera angle, for fear of missing any wonderful shot. This meeting of the Bernabeu Marshal is simply full of topics. After a while, the press conference gradually came to an end. Perez and Mourinho left the scene after answering some routine questions from reporters. At noon, the president of Real Madrid held a grand welcome party for Mourinho. For the first time in the club, Real Madrid's players met the legendary champion coach. Although the players respect Mourinho at the moment, there is still some estrangement in their hearts. Not so natural as with Lin Guang. Because, the expression of this fruit-toothed man is really too serious. At this time, Casillas, as a representative of the players, raised a glass to welcome the manager. "Welcome, Marshal," Cassie said enthusiastically after drinking the wine in his glass. "You're the captain and the main goalkeeper, right? Meet today, look at the figure is not tall, as a goalkeeper is a short board. Unlike Petr Cech, who is 196 centimeters tall, it is best to be a goalkeeper." At this time, after taking a sip of wine, Mu Shuai smiled and said. At this moment, the other players saw the situation and their hearts were cold. Is Mourinho just signed a contract and is ready to suppress the old captain in advance and control the rhythm of the locker room? Although the captain is only 182 centimeters tall, he is the first in the world goalkeeper rankings. Especially in this year's World Cup, Cassie is also the winner of the Golden Glove Award. At this time, Ramos began to complain about Casillas. "Oh, so what?" The marshal placed his wine glass in a random place and then left with Sanchez. "Brothers, will our days be difficult in the future? I miss Coach Lin Guang." At this time, Pepe's voice, in the music of the cocktail party, suddenly rose. The other Real Madrid players, however, sighed quietly and remained silent. After the reception, Mourinho flew directly back to the city of Lost Blue in Perez's private jet. Because of the coaching agreement between Mourinho at Inter, there are still 2 weeks to end. On Christmas Day, Mourinho will come to the West Tooth country with his family. However, that afternoon, Lin Guang returned to his home tired in the middle of the night because the plane was late. Although it was close to the early hours of the morning, Lin Guang was still energetic at this moment. Because of this trip to England country, he can be described as harvested full. After lazily lying on the sofa, Lin Guang opened his mobile phone. Shortly after the boot of the phone, it was displayed that countless text messages had been received from Luna. Lin Guang quickly read Luna's text message, and then scanned the sports news of the day. At this point, Lin Guang already knew everything that happened in the Bernabeu that day. It seems that in the eyes of the club's senior management, he is really low. At this time, Lin Guang's heart couldn't help but sigh a little. However, he felt that giving Mourinho a signing ceremony at the Bernabeu and ignoring himself was such a thing. Very much in line with the character of this Buddha. Lin Guang remembers that before the 18 World Cup in his previous life, Perez inexplicably announced Lopetegui as the new manager of Real Madrid. But at the time, Lopetegui was the head coach of the West Asian nation. Perez's bewilderment of this obsession has made the entire West Tooth national players who are about to participate in the World Cup panic. The West Tooth Football Club had to temporarily change the coach for this reason. Of course, it is conceivable that the team's performance in the World Cup is a mess. But just half a season after Lopetegui made enemies for Real Madrid, Perez inexplicably dismissed him. This Buddha, even the West Tooth National Football Club, cannot care about their ideas. He Lin Guang, a small temporary coach, what is it? Therefore, for this proud Real Madrid president, Lin Guang feels very normal for any of his actions. However, when he saw the news that Mu Shuai had declared war on him, Lin Guang was stunned. Is Mourinho trying to teach me a lesson? At this time, Lin Guang smiled slightly. In fact, Lin Guang has always liked Mu Shuai very much. In his previous life, Lin Guang was a fan of Mourinho. His crazy personality and style have always influenced Lin Guang's coaching style. Therefore, Lin Guang has always been known as a little madman. Mu Shuai is a man, although he has always been wild and uninhibited in front of journalists. However, I have to admit that Mourinho is very serious about team management and tactics. In the future, if you have the opportunity, it is not bad to have a good discussion with the team coached by Mourinho. At this time, Lin Guang's mood was also excellent, and he didn't care much about Mu Shuai's wild talk in the news. However, since Real Madrid has already treated itself this way, it is time for him to make some decisions. The next day, Lin Guang rushed to the Real Madrid club early in the morning. When he came to the door of the club, a familiar figure came into view. "Knew you would be back today." Lin Guang, at this time, what do you want to say? Sanchez looked at Lin Guang, and there was an incomparable sadness on his face. What I want to say, Mr. Sanchez should know. In the future, the team I coach, if I meet Real Madrid in the game, may be ruthless. Lin Guang stood next to Sanchez and replied lightly. Expected. What are you going to do when you come to the team so early today? Sanchez asked again. Farewell. Lin Guang replied. Is it really decided? Sanchez asked. Oh, is it up to me to decide? I still saw the signing ceremony of the Bernabeu in the news, such a big news. At this moment, Lin Guang slowly became a little angry. That. I wish you a bright future, Lin Guang, you are the best coach I have ever met. Sanchez finished speaking and left in a daze. After a while, Lin Guang came to the training ground. At this time, the players had all been waiting for Lin Guang here for a long time. You are all world-class stars, is it worth it for me to be here so early? Lin Guang's heart warmed, and then he smiled at everyone. Coach, can you not go? At least, the last 2 games, with us playing? At this time, Casillas approached Lin Guang and said to Lin Guang. Now the whole world knows that Mourinho is already the head coach of Real Madrid. And the signing ceremony is still within the term of my contract. Brothers, if I don't go any longer, I will be laughed at by everyone. Even if my Lin Guang's face is very thick. Lin Guang patted Casillas' shoulder, and then smiled softly. Coach, take me along. At this time, a handsome player said firmly to Lin Guang. Episode 72, Tall Man, take me with you. Although the martial is good, I personally don't like it. I still like the style of your little madman coach. At this time, Granero also teased. At this time, Lin Guang looked at Kaka and Granero, and then said angrily. You're not like me. Real Madrid is one of the best platforms for all players to play. You have the best football resources here, don't mess around with me. Lin Guang glanced at everyone at the scene and continued. But coach, the brothers have fully recognized you. Just let us. At this time, Granero really looked at Lin Guang. Don't say it. Life is not as good as it should be. I'm here to say goodbye to you today. I'm not here to dig the foot of the Real Madrid wall. You will be under the new coach's coach, to glory. Lin Guang quickly stopped Granero's next words, and then immediately spoke to everyone. Coach, where will you go? At this time, Kaka asked softly, and his tone was still full of determination. Watching the news in a few days, won't you know? Ha ha, Lin Guang patted Kaka's shoulder and then replied with a smile. And all of you, listen. You are not allowed to leave the team before your player contract is over. Unless. Lin Guang paused in tone, then looked at the players and continued, someone here doesn't want you anymore. Then you can come to me. Lin Guang, I want. Lin Guang finished speaking, facing all the players he had coached, holding his fists with both hands. Coach. Coach. One day I can't play here, I'm going to look for you. Me too. At this time, the players surrounded Lin Guang in a circle, and everyone's eyes were full of tears. It is said that the boy has tears and does not flick, but he is not sad. Cassie, you're the best goalkeeper I've ever seen in the world. Keep it that way, and you'll have no problem playing for another 10 years. At this time, Lin Guang began to say goodbye to the players. Thank you, coach. But yesterday, Mourinho also said that I am not tall and not suitable for being a goalkeeper. Hee. Casillas heard that and smiled bitterly. He doesn't understand you. But I understand you. Lin Guang gave Captain Cassie a big hug to encourage him. See Luo, if you are wronged in the future, don't forget your original intention of playing football. I believe. You will become a generation of ball kings in the future. Lin Guang looked at Si Luo and said very appreciatively. Yes, coach. Be sure to remember. I've always been the best of the players. Si Luo listened to Lin Guang's encouragement and replied very excitedly. Lin Guang nodded, then continued to the next player. Kaka, train hard, you will definitely return to your peak state. Play a season under Mourinho. If it backfires, come back to me. Lin Guang looked at the stubborn big boy and truly confessed. At this moment, Kaka did not speak, did not nod, just stood in the same place. Stinky pirate, don't call me a tall man again. I was just lucky to meet you guys with a bunch of good players. Oh, don't they all say that I can only win with stars? Lin Guang said somewhat self-deprecatingly to Granero. Load, keep loading. Coach, I like the way you pretend to be low-key. By the way, I'm playing as a substitute at Real Madrid anyway, and if I coach your new team will want me when the time comes. I'll look at the water dispenser next to you, haha. At this time, Granero smiled happily. Go for it. Guys who don't show up, you have to believe that you can play the main force, and train hard for a while. And you, Dr. Moss. How did you end up here now? Lin Guang continued to walk forward, and then he was suddenly surprised to find that this magical team doctor had come out of nowhere. Coach Lin Guang, why are you so surprised? Now the whole world knows that yesterday at the Bernabeu, the signing ceremony of the Marshal Mourinho was held. As far as your character is concerned, who doesn't know that you will definitely resign today? Haha, so I took a step ahead of you today and resigned early. Coach Lin Guang, where's your next stop? I'll go with you. I'm just a team doctor. Coach Lin Guang won't accept me, right? At this time, Dr. Ma said triumphantly to everyone. And all the players looked at this team doctor with a look of envy. If Lin Guang hadn't said hello just now, they would have wanted to rush to Sanchez's office now. And Lin Guang saw the situation and helplessly covered his face with his hands. He thought, if you take a team doctor away, there should be no problem, right? Who said I was going to resign? At this time, Lin Guang said lightly. Dr. Moss, don't resign? So why are you saying goodbye here? Oh, I'm just a different way to leave. Lin Guang replied with a smile. After a while, Lin Guang said goodbye to the players and left the club in a hurry. At this moment, Lin Guang took out his mobile phone and dialed a familiar phone. Hey, Luna, do you have any networking resources for journalists? I'm going to get a press conference tomorrow, can I help me get it done? At this time, Lin Guang took the mobile phone and asked with a smile. No problem. Venue and time, you choose. Luna heard that and replied without hesitation. Just tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. You can help me find a larger conference room. Lin Guang immediately added on the other end of the phone. Okay. Arrange to send you a message. After Luna finished speaking, she immediately made relevant arrangements for Lin Guang. I have to say that Luna's execution is still very strong. It only took her half a day to lease a large conference room at a hotel. As soon as Luna's news friends heard that it was Lin Guang's personal press conference, they all spontaneously said that they wanted to go to the interview. At this point, before that night, Lin Guang's press conference was ready. After receiving Luna's message, Lin Guangzi was a special thank. At 9 o'clock the next morning, the reporters were already waiting in the hotel's large conference room. The conference room has also been specially changed to the shape of a press room. After a while, Lin Guang, who was late in coming, was now wearing a blue suit and slowly sat down in front of the interview seat. At this time, Lin Guang looked very handsome and charming. Hello journalists. I am currently a temporary transition coach for Real Madrid. My name is Lin Guang. The next important thing I want to announce is that I have decided to leave Real Madrid at this moment. At this time, Lin Guang said solemnly at the interview table. Coach Lin Guang, are you ready to resign? At this moment, a reporter in the interview area raised his own question. If I leave, it doesn't mean that I resigned. I am now officially announcing that I have fired Real Madrid. At this moment, Lin Guang smiled slightly, and then said solemnly. Episode 73. As soon as Lin Guang's voice fell, the needle in the entire interview room was suddenly heard. After a while, the flash in the interview room kept flashing. Big news. Yesterday, Real Madrid and Mourinho had a signing ceremony, and today the current manager held a press conference to say that he was leaving. Moreover, listening to Lin Guang's meaning, it seems that he fired Real Madrid. Since this time, a series of news hotspots have excited the reporters at the scene. Coach Lin Guang, do you mean, in your personal name, to fire the Real Madrid club? So, does that mean that you broke with Real Madrid completely? At this time, the reporter in the interview area continued to ask. To be precise, there should be no relationship with this club. But, this team, I've always loved. Lin Guang was sitting precariously at the moment, and replied with a serious face. Yesterday, Coach Wu Shuai's evaluation and invitation to you, Coach Lin Guang, what do you think? At this time, another reporter continued to ask questions. As a senior footballer, Mourinho has always been an idol I respect. This kind of encouragement from him is completely acceptable to me. However, if I have the opportunity to play a game with my predecessors, I am also willing to ask them for advice. Lin Guang smiled slightly, and then replied seriously. Coach Lin Guang, after leaving Real Madrid, where is your next stop? Can you tell us about your future coaching team? At this time, the reporters continued to ask questions to Lin Guang. All I can say is that what I'm going to coach next is definitely a great team. Although my temporary contract is less than 2 weeks old, please let me keep the spirit of the last bit of the contract. Lin Guang replied with a smile, and then he immediately stood up from his position. Okay, friends and the media can come here today. Lin Guang would like to thank you all for this. Today's personal press conference, let's stop here. After Lin Guang got up to bend down to greet the reporters under the interview table, he quickly left the interview site. Today, the purpose of firing up Real Madrid has been achieved, so Lin Guang is no longer too entangled with the past. Although the time of Lin Guang's press conference was short, the reporters also felt that the harvest was full. Because the news hotspot thrown by Lin Guang here today is enough for them to be excited for several days. At Lin Guang's personal press conference that day, many media outlets directly broadcast live. Therefore, after the end of the live broadcast, Lin Guang's firing up Real Madrid was quickly fermented on the whole network. Especially in the World Fan Forum, the word Lin Guang has once again become a hot word. Did you just watch the live news? Lin Guang actually fired Real Madrid. I read it, so now come to the forum and see what everyone has to say. I'll go, this Lin Guang is really stubborn. What a gimmick this news. However, I like this maverick personality of Coach Lin Guang. Yes, it is worthy of being an idol who makes me turn to powder. Lin Guang, cow beep. Do you support him leaving Real Madrid? I support anyway, I support it too. Lin Guang's encounter at Real Madrid, I look at it with resignation. He should have left a long time ago. Indeed, Real Madrid has gone too far. You say, Lin Guang and Mu Shui are stronger and who are more crazy? I don't know. If Lin Guang continues to coach the Giants in the future, they will encounter it sooner or later. Speaking of which, where do you think Lin Guang's next stop is? Who knows, but it is clear that Lin Guang's new team will definitely be beaten hard when it encounters Real Madrid. Ha 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 ha. However, when Lin Guang came out of the interview room, he did not choose to return to the team again. Because, since the announcement just now, Lin Guang and Real Madrid have no longer had anything to do with each other. Moreover, Lin Guang has also met with the players and Mr. Sanchez to say goodbye. At this moment, Lin Guang is not at all worried about any contract entanglement with Real Madrid. Because, will the proud Real Madrid executives care about his little man? As a result, Lin Guang, who was currently light and uneventful, immediately returned to his home in Dili City. It seems that the ground has to be moved. At this moment, Lin Guang looked at his small nest in the West Tooth country and couldn't help but feel a pang of pity. Lin Guang packed up the few things at home and then lay down on the sofa with his hands on pillows. My journey at Real Madrid is finally over. When a person is quietly alone, thinking back to everything he has experienced in the city, Lin Guang is still a little lonely. Ding. The host took the initiative to leave Real Madrid, which attracted the attention of the world football world. Hereby, the reputation value is +1, and the current host's total reputation value is 77. At this time, the sound of the system suddenly appeared in Lin Guang's brain. At this time, Lin Guang heard the words and smiled slightly. Fortunately, at least there is a system that has been spurring itself to become a great godfather of football. However, there are still 2 weeks left until Christmas. During this period, do you go directly to Manchester City to report, or do you go out to catch a little football demon? However, just when Lin Guang was struggling alone, his press conference shocked the entire football world. Real Madrid club, in the president's office. Ahem. Did he really say that? At this time, Perez forcefully threw a silver spoon into the coffee cup. Yes, Mr. President. Lin Guang coached him. Lin Guang held a press conference himself, and the news report said so. Alas. Sanchez replied, then sighed deeply. It seems that the rift between Real Madrid and Lin Guang will be difficult to make up for in the future. Oh, just because he is a temporary coach, he also dares to shout with Real Madrid? What a joke. Fortunately, we have successfully signed a contract with Mourinho. Don't care about this jumping bean clown. Before the winter break, continue to let Solari act as head coach. At this time, Perez's face quickly returned to his usual expression. Yes, Mr. President. One more thing to report back to you. Sanchez paused and continued. What's the matter? Perez picked up the coffee cup on the table and took a sip gently. It was Lin Guang announcing. After leaving, many teams sent faxes saying they wanted to sign him. Among them, there are also a lot of big teams. Sanchez replied respectfully again. What? At this time, the president of Real Madrid, sitting on the boss's chair, stood up suddenly. Episode 74. Sanchez, you said there are a lot of teams ready to sign Lin Guang right now? A temporary coach, is it so sought after? Perez paced to the window and asked nonchalantly. Yes, Mr. President. After Lin Guang's press conference, many clubs have come to consult. Since there is no contact information for him, there are also many team presidents who call me directly to inquire. For example, Mr. Moratti of Inter, Mr. Rummenigge of Bayern. Among them, the most urgent is Manchester United's Sir Alex Ferguson. At this time, Sanchez replied slowly. Oh? Old sir, what did he say? At this moment, when he heard Ferguson's name, there was also a trace of respect on the face of this scruffy president. Sir Ferguson, he said. Manchester United are willing to pay a transfer fee of 10 million and invite Lin Guang to be the head coach of the team. Sanchez replied immediately. With that, Sanchez continued to stand where he was, quietly watching Perez with his hand on the window ledge in front of him. Obviously, there are only 2 weeks of time, and this Lin Guang has no contract. He's completely free and can join any team for free. But this Manchester United is not only willing to use the transfer fee, but also let Lin Guang take over Ferguson's position. Sanchez, you say, is this Lin Guang really so hot? Perez turned around, and he himself said with some doubt. Mr. President, Manchester United should feel that using the transfer fee to invite to join is a kind of respect for coach Lin Guang. As for Sir Alex Ferguson's choice of Lin Guang as his successor, it must have his own considerations. However, Lin Guang does have a great coach. Sanchez replied slowly. Old man, you said that Lin Guang and Mu Shuai, who is stronger? Perez heard the words and asked again expressionlessly. Both of these are strong. But this Lin Guangxing is very young, and his future should be unlimited. If anyone is more suitable for the current Real Madrid, I personally think it is better to coach Lin Guang. At this time, Sanchez rarely took the initiative to express his thoughts. Sanchez, do you even think so? It seems that the whole world knows how powerful he is, but I can't see it clearly. At this point, Perez sat back in his chair self-deprecatingly, and then picked up the already cold cup of coffee. You are not blind, but arrogant. Now I regret it. At this moment, Sanchez sighed helplessly in his heart. Old man, do you think you can still keep Lin Guang and let him go to Castile as a head coach? When Mourinho's contract is over, will he let him fully manage the Real Madrid team? At this time, Perez said with some emotion. But at this time, Sanchez heard the words, but he was heartbroken. I wonder when did this big president suddenly change his mind and take the initiative to admit his mistake. However, Sanchez is worthy of the old man around Perez, and he quickly figured out the crux of the problem. As a successful businessman, Perez may still dislike Lin Guang. But when everyone thought Lin Guang was good, he also had the idea of strange goods to live in. Mr. President, maybe now, it's too late. As soon as this Lin Guang press conference opened, his relationship with Real Madrid can also be regarded as a severance of righteousness. Sanchez replied at this moment, somewhat regrettably. Well, you go out. At this time, Perez waved his hand gently, and his face was joyless. Sanchez nodded, then bowed away. And just when Lin Guang was lying on the sofa, thinking about how to spend this boring Christmas Eve, suddenly, his phone rang. Lin Guang picked up the mobile phone and his face was full of smiles. Man, how did you remember to call me? Lin Guang asked kindly at this moment. In the news, I saw your personal press conference. How's it going? Out of breath, right? Ferguson was on the other end of the phone, smiling and saying. This breath is out, it is very cool. Haha, but now it's nothing to do, a little boring. Lin Guang quickly replied at this moment. Then don't you hurry up and roll me to Manchuria? It's time to come over and get acquainted with the team and meet Mr. Glazer. To keep you worry-free, United are even willing to spend 10 million to buy your right to use for 2 weeks. Then, Ferguson told Lin Guang that Manchester United was willing to spend 10 million transfer fees and directly invited Lin Guang to join. And Lin Guang heard that at this moment, his heart was warm. Old man, why spend this unjust money? 2 weeks passes in a flash, but Real Madrid should not charge this money. After all, their face is bigger than heaven. Haha, however, thanks to the whole Manchester United team, they are so supportive. Lin Guang said gratefully. At this moment, he seems to have the determination to die for his confidant for Manchester United. After all, what Lin Guang wants is actually very simple, that is, the team's attitude towards his own manager. You boy, if you can come over early and take over as the head coach. If I can retire as an old man sooner, it will be a reward for me. At this time, Ferguson was on the other end of the phone, and said somewhat helplessly. Okay, sir, I'll come over tomorrow. Real Madrid, on the other hand, has nothing to do with me. By the way, can I bring a team doctor with me? At this moment, Lin Guang was crying and laughing. Because, this time in Manchuria City, it means to live there for a long time. This Dr. Mars resigned early for his own sake, so this time to Manchester United, take him with you. Oh, and Luna. Thinking of this, Lin Guang showed a happy smile. He decided to find another time and have a good talk with her. Team doctor? Is it your own team member? If that's the case, no problem at all. In the future, the management of the entire Manchester United team, you have the final say. Ferguson didn't even think about it, and he agreed directly. Thank you, sir. Lin Guang said softly. After a while, the old man and the young man agreed on a time and hung up the phone. At this moment, Lin Guang looked at the luggage that had been packed, and then lazily lay down on the sofa. He wondered if he would have a good chat with Luna about his trip to Manchester United on this day's occasion. Bang bang bang. At this moment, there was a knock at the door, which suddenly broke the tranquility of Lin Guang's room. Episode 75. Lin Guang got up at this time and slowly opened the door. I saw a middle-aged man in a suit with his hair combed back and standing in front of him. Mr. Lin Guang, hello. Very presumptuous to bother you now, this is my business card. At this time, the middle-aged man gently handed the business card to Lin Guang. Lin Guang carefully looked at the person in front of him, and his words and deeds looked very magnificent. Mendes. Football agent. At this time, Lin Guang looked at the name engraved on the business card. I'll go. The first agent in the football world, Mendes. What did he come to find himself? At this moment, Lin Guang was very confused. But out of courtesy, Lin Guang still quickly invited Mendes into the house. Hello, Mr. Mendes. Come in. For walls of the house, please don't mind. At this time, Lin Guang quickly put the packed luggage aside, and then cleaned out the only sofa in the house. Oh, it seems that Coach Lin Guang is ready to leave the city? When are you leaving? Which team are you going to coach? At this time, after Mendes sat down, he smiled at Lin Guang. Just these 2 days, I'll probably leave. What is the matter with Mr. Mendes's visit today? Lin Guang handed Mendes a glass of water, and then replied lightly. The sudden arrival of the guests, Lin Guang's heart was full of doubts. Coach Lin Guang, today's visit, I am indeed a bit abrupt. Just because your press conference today was really a bit sudden, I didn't expect it at all. Originally, I was going to come back to visit you officially in a few days, but I was afraid that the time would be too late. So I contacted a few friends at Real Madrid, asked for your address, and went straight to you. Fortunately, in your home, the luggage is there, and the people are there. Haha, at this time, Mendes explained to Lin Guang the reason for today's arrival. Visit me? Mr. Mendes came today for this matter? Lin Guang asked doubtfully again. Coach Lin Guang, don't be nervous. I came to you to be your football agent. Mendes hastened to explain. Become my broker? Mr. Mendes, I know you're fine, but I don't need an agent. At this time, Lin Guang quickly said to Mendes. Coach Lin Guang, don't be in a hurry to reject me, listen to me. With an agent, you can easily do a lot of things in football. For example, to help you with transfers, the usual exchange of contacts and resources. Also, it can help you build your team image. At least, in the work of a coach, the agent can help you feel less wronged. Speaking of this, Mendes thoughtfully looked at the Lin Guang in front of him. I know I'm gone, so I don't need someone else to help me. Lin Guang heard the words and refused again. Coach Lin Guang, my players and coaches are Cristiano Ronaldo and Mourinho. There are also many famous stars, as well as future stars. If you let me be your agent, these players and coaches, you can communicate at any time. And I, the agent, am often the guest of the major clubs. Coach Lin Guang, you want to buy players, through me is also very convenient. At this time, Mendes quickly continued to analyze the benefits of having an agent for Lin Guang. Hearing this, Lin Guang was stunned in his heart. The communication between the club and the players can be carried out through Mendes, which is really useful for Lin Guang. That way, he no longer has to be as sneaky as he was last time at Tottenham. Through Mendes directly to the VIP, he also has more ways to recruit, so it seems that multiple brokers are also quite good. Why are you looking at me? As far as I know, Mr. Mendes is second to none in the field of football agents. And I'm just a temporary coach that Real Madrid doesn't want. At this time, Lin Guang once again expressed his doubts. You think everyone is the eye of the real estate businessman at Real Madrid? In my eyes, Lin Guang, you are the future coach star. And I, as an agent, am for the stars. At this time, Mendes replied confidently. For Mendes's words, Lin Guang is still very recognized. After all, the vision of the first agent in football has been very unique and old for more than 10 years. Well, Mr. Mendes, I thought about having you as an agent. I really could have a lot less trouble. However, to become my agent, I currently have 3 requirements. At this time, Lin Guang said to Mendes. Okay, let's talk about it. Mendes replied with a smile. First, this time to go to Manchester United to coach is my own choice. You are not allowed to charge any transfer fees and commissions. Second, if I want to reach out to a certain player in football, Mr. Mendes, you've got to make an appointment for me. Third, even though you are my agent, I am still free. As for the rest, your legitimate interests as an agent, I will not ask about it. At this time, Lin Guang said solemnly. Good. No problem, even Si Luo and Mourinho have chosen me, so please coach Lin Guang and believe in my professionalism. Oh, it turns out that Coach Lin Guang's next stop is Manchester United. Mr. Glazer and I are also good friends, so if you have anything to do at Manchester United, you can also go directly to me as an agent. At this time, Mendes faced Lin Guang's request and agreed to it. At this moment, Lin Guang heard that in his heart, he really recognized the broker in front of him. Well, my agent, I'll have to let you know about my current itinerary. I'm going to Manchester City tomorrow, and I'm going to get to know the whole team in advance during that time. At this time, Lin Guang explained to Mendes. Okay, Coach Lin Guang, it's an honor to be your agent. Regarding the brokerage contract, I'll come back to you after you are stable at Manchester United. Anyway, I can't earn this transfer commission, haha. At this time, Mendes said with a smile on his face. Well, Mr. Mendes, in those days to come, I will take great care of you. Happy cooperation. At this time, Lin Guang and Mendes shook hands. Happy cooperation. By the way, Coach Lin Guang, it seems that you and Mourinho had some quarrels some time ago. Since you are both the people I am currently serving, I hope to find a chance for the three of us to have a meal together. At this time, Mendes suddenly said to Lin Guang. Episode 76. Okay, no problem. For Mourinho, I have long wanted to meet. Actually, I've always admired his coaching style. At this time, Lin Guang replied to Mendes. Lin Guang, it's great that you can think like this. After all, you both coach at the big clubs, and sooner or later you'll be in the game. So, I hope that even if there is such a day, the two of you will be able to play with a normal heart. After all, as your mutual agent, I don't want you to have too much for tat. Mendes breathed a sigh of relief, then smiled. That's okay, Mr. Mendes. After I get to Manchester United, apart from the game, I will bother you to take care of it more. At this time, Lin Guang and Mendes slowly came to the door. Haha, as an agent, it's what I should do. Coach Lin Guang, from now on, you just have to show your talents at Manchester United. The contract thing, I'll come to you. Also, the dinner with Mu Shui, I will arrange. Mendes walked outside the door and finally said to Lin Guang. After speaking, Mendes left Lin Guang's house. In the evening of the same day, Lin Guang finally decided to make an appointment with Luna and get together to say goodbye to dinner. Lin Guang told Luna about his upcoming trip to Manchester United to coach, and solemnly asked if he would like to follow him to live in Manchuria. Luna, on the other hand, smiled lightly and said that there was no need to worry about it at all. Because the distance between the West Tooth country and the Yinglong country is not too far. There is also the fact that Lin Guang, as a coach, often leads the team to play games in various regions and cities. As a journalist, Luna will often fly around the world. Therefore, the two people limited by their careers, in the entrepreneurial stage, are doomed to live without a fixed place. Lin Guang heard the words, and his heart was in a trance, and the things that had been entangled were finally put down. Luna, on the other hand, was full of joy. After all, Lin Guang finally gave herself a direct attitude. In the end, Luna's only request is that Lin Guang must return to Yard Delhi in a week to spend Christmas with her. When Lin Guang heard this, he smiled and gladly accepted. After returning home that night, Lin Guang also called Dr. Moss for the first time. Asked him if he would go to Man City with him the next day. Dr. Moss, who received the call, was overjoyed and expressed his hopes for working at Manchester United in the future. But because Dr. Moss is from West Tooth, he wants to spend some time with his family before Christmas, before he goes abroad to work. Lin Guang is also very supportive of this, and said that he will give him several mysterious medical books at the right time. Dr. Moss rejoiced in this. Soon, the next morning, Lin Guang sadly closed the door where he was in the yard. After a few hours of driving, Lin Guang returned to Manchuria again. Ferguson did what he said, and he quickly took care of a small apartment in Manchuria. When Lin Guang arrived in Manchukuan City, he could already move in with his bag directly. Old man, are you really willing to do it? At this time, Lin Guang, who had received the key to the apartment, smiled at Ferguson. This is not for you, and you will have to pay me back when you make money in the future. Now don't talk nonsense, hurry up and follow me to the club. Mr. Glazer was in the office today. Ferguson said without anger. After saying that, he and Lin Guang immediately got into their own car, and then went directly to the club. Manchester United Club, President's Office. Introduced by Ferguson, Lin Guang saw that the club was in de facto control of Glazer. At this time, in the office, sat an old man with grey hair. Next to him, stood a middle-aged man with some bald heads. "Hello, Mr. Glazer." At this time, Lin Guang immediately greeted the old man on the sofa. "You are Lin Guang, haha, long looked up to the big name." Ferguson, the old guy who has been looking for a successor for so many years, finally stopped at you. "Come, please sit, don't look outside, just call me Marco. This one next to me is my son. Joel, hurry up and pour a glass of water for both coaches." At this moment, the spirited old Glazer immediately greeted Lin Guang and the two of them. "Yes, father." Joel replied obediently. After Ferguson and Lin Guang sat down on the sofa, Joel placed 2 water glasses on the coffee table in front of the sofa. "Marco, I've had a little more grey hair lately. After Lin Guang came, I can finally retire, haha." At this point, Ferguson said proudly to his older Glazer. You old guy will be comfortable in the future, my sons are so big that people don't have to worry about it. By the way, Coach Lin Guang can join Manchester United at any time from now on. I've already said hello to Real Madrid Sanchez, to draw up a supplementary agreement for Lin Guang and terminate the contract early. Old Glazer said softly, as if it were a trivial matter. "That's great, old man, I can announce my retirement tomorrow." "Haha, Marco, why don't we also get Lin Guang a signing ceremony? By the way, let the old man and my retirement ceremony be done together at Old Trafford?" At this time, Ferguson said with a smile. "The proposal is good, we Manchester United have not been lively for a long time. Hurry up and finish the coaching transition, and we 2 old men will play golf." At this moment, the old Glazer also replied happily. At this moment, Lin Guang was sitting stupidly drinking water, listening to the 2 big men strategizing here. "Lin Guang, do you have any suggestions for the team? Ferguson told me that you are in charge of the whole Manchester United team building plan." At this time, old Glazer suddenly asked Lin Guang. "Thank you for your trust, Mr. Marco. Maybe during the winter break, the team will have to buy a few players I want. And some of the players in the current squad may also have to let them go." Lin Guang's thoughts were quickly pulled back, and he immediately replied respectfully. "For all these years, I've been handing over to Sir Alex Ferguson about the management of the team. Since he recommended you, you will be Manchester United's manager and manager from now on. If Coach Lin Guang is ready to buy players during the winter break, then the club will give you a transfer budget of 100 million yuan first, is it enough?" At this time, old Glazer smiled and said to Lin Guang. Episode 77, "Thank you for your generosity and trust, Mr. Marco. The budget for this transfer is already a lot, and most of the players I want to buy are young players." At this time, Lin Guang quickly greeted old Glazer. "Coach Lin Guang, he has his own ideas, and the original intention of using young players is good. However, now is the era of commercial football, we still have to buy some stars to come in. If the money is not enough, in the summer window transfer period next year, how about we add another 100 million to buy players?" At this moment, Joel, who was standing next to old Glazer, suddenly spoke. "Mr. Joel, players are not more expensive and better. Young players, although not famous, can also bring good results to the team." At this time, Lin Guang explained with some displeasure. "Joel, the management of the team, you must not interfere with Coach Lin Guang. What was Sir Alex Ferguson's position at Manchester United before, and the same is true for Coach Lin Guang in the future." Old Glazer heard this and immediately reminded his son. "But, father, in the future, Manchester United, if they are all young coaches, young players, if there are no stars. Our club's stock price has fallen, what can we do?" At this time, Joel said somewhat anxiously. "Alas. That's why you stinky boys don't put me at ease. If you treat football and Manchester United as a business, it's against the original intention of us to buy this team a few years ago. A few of you have business and stock prices in your heads, when did you really care about football?" At this moment, old Glazer looked at Joel and was angry. "Father, if Sir Alex Ferguson were in charge of the team, I wouldn't have anything to say. But if the team changes its personnel in the second half of the season, we don't have to be more cautious. For example, in terms of players, let's try to bring in Messi. In the coaching position, Moyes and Van Gaal in the last proposal are also good." Joel touched his hair and continued to expound his opinion. "You give me out. You guys don't know anything about football." At this time, the old Glazer finally sent out his own anger. And Joel looked at his father, and then looked at Lin Guang, and then left angrily. Alas. This dude really only looks at business statements, who buys whom. Lin Guang wants to know, in this year, how much money will be spent to buy Messi? Seeing this scene, Lin Guang couldn't help but sigh a little. Because in the memory of his past life, he clearly remembers after the old Marco suffered an injury and stroke. These little glazers, but really regard Manchester United as a business. They only used Manchester United as a cash cow and ignored the fact that United had become a second-rate team a decade later. Since Lin Guang is loved by Manchester United at the moment, he decided to try not to let such a thing happen in the future. However, at this moment, when the names of Moyes and Van Gaal were heard again, Lin Guang shook his head with a bitter smile at this moment. He is now reminded of a past life about United's post-Ferguson meme. That is, ancient strange Moyes, June flying snow Van Gaal. This means that after Ferguson's retirement, Manchester United has been devastated ever since. Even the arrival of famous managers such as Moyes and Louis van Gaal still cannot improve United's results. The fans thought it was the successor coaches who couldn't. As a result, until the late Ole Gunnar Solskjaer coach took over, Manchester United was still in the middle of the league. Alright, Marco, let's give these young men some more time. At this time, Ferguson looked at Joel's back and sighed helplessly. Well, Coach Lin Guang joined Manchester United, which is a big joy. Don't spoil the atmosphere for the stinky boy in my house. Well, in order to welcome Coach Lin Guang to join, let's hold a signing ceremony at Old Trafford tomorrow. We'll let people start arranging this matter later. Of course, the scale must not be smaller than Real Madrid's Marshall, haha. At this moment, old Glazer talked with a smile on his face. Haha, that dared to be kind, I'll go home and write my retirement speech later. Ferguson heard that and quipped. After a while, Ferguson and Lin Guang slowly walked out of the president's office. Ferguson then took Lin Guang to the club's coaching office. Lin Guang, from now on, this room will belong to you. Ferguson smiled at Lin Guang, and there was a hint of pity in his eyes. Old man, this office will always belong to you. Moreover, you have not returned to Hugh and you will not come back, and the future Manchester United will need more encouragement from you. Looking at the white-haired Ferguson, Lin Guang at this moment was also a little sad. Well, let's not talk about this. Just now you said that you were going to buy some young players during the winter break. Tell me, who are they? Ferguson immediately changed the subject. Lin Guang heard the words at this time, immediately found a blank piece of paper on his desk, and then wrote a string of names on it. Man, these guys are players that I'm going to buy during the winter break. Look, can you ask the club to help arrange it? At this time, Lin Guang handed the name on the white paper to Ferguson. Bell, Modric, Casemiro, Ronaldo. Lin Guang, did you write this, Ronaldo? Ferguson looked at Lin Guang doubtfully at the moment. That's right, it's the alien R9 of Samba, Ronnie. Not the CR7 from Real Madrid. At this time, Lin Guang nodded at Ferguson. Really decided? Ferguson asked incredulously. Although he did not understand, he still maintained the original intention of not interfering in the construction of the team. Yes, although Ronnie is 34 years old, I made a pact with him to win a Champions League together. Didn't Mr. Joel say he wanted to buy a superstar? That's enough, haha. However, Mr. Ronnie and I have only agreed for half a season. Lin Guang smiled and teased. It's okay, now that Giggs 37, Scholl's 36, don't I still let them continue to play for Manchester United? However, they are both forced by me to stay in the team. After all, now Manchester United's talent, some of them are not connected. What if they decide to retire and join your coaching team? At this time, Ferguson looked at Lin Guang with a serious face. Extremely honored and welcome. Sir, this is the person I am going to buy gradually in the future. Lin Guang said solemnly, and then handed Ferguson a white paper with the player's name written on it again. Ferguson smiled at Lin Guang and nodded, then looked at the paper. De Bruyne, Van Dijk, Götze, Mbappe, Haaland. Lin Guangzi, where are you looking for these unheard-of young players? Episode 78. Ferguson looked at these unfamiliar names and shook his head helplessly. At this moment, he once wondered if these people were the little demons that Lin Guang had found in which football game. Lin Guang took a closer look at the paper and quickly crossed out the next few names in shame. De Bruyne and Götze are fine, and it is still possible to check this person in various clubs. But this Mbappe and Haaland may still be in elementary school, right? Lin Guang rubbed his forehead, and then decided to put them in the academy in a few years. These future stars, Lin Guang boy, you can watch and do it yourself. By the way, I've followed up with 2 good players before this, I wonder if you'd like to use them. At this time, Ferguson said after solemnly returning the list written by Lin Guang. In fact, in the Manchester United team, Ferguson is not only a football manager and coach, but also a scout job. In general, Manchester United's transfer decisions are personally controlled by him. Man, even the two players you think are very good, that must be no problem. Even if you don't say it now, I'll kill both of them. Lin Guang said very firmly at this moment. Oh? So convinced of your instincts? Well, old man, I don't sell Guanzi anymore, one is a striker and the other is a goalkeeper. Their names are Van Persie and De Gea. In the current squad, Biba is still embarrassed, and Van der Sar's age is really too big. At this time, Ferguson immediately told Lin Guang. Is Arsenal going to start selling captains again? When he heard Van Persie's name, Lin Guang now remembered a terrier from Arsenal in his previous life. And Van Persie is in football, but he has the title of Flying Tulip Man. This striker must take it. The old man is mighty. And De Gea is not to mention. The front field is picturesque, the back field is De Gea. That's the goalkeeper. This goalkeeper, but Real Madrid can't get it. The old man is really wise as a torch. I want these two players, when will they come? At this time, Lin Guang asked with some urgency. Oh, like it? But it's the end of the season next summer. Looking at Lin Guang like this, Ferguson was full of smiles at the moment. However, at this moment, Lin Guang also immediately realized that in fact, Ferguson was also ready to change the current lineup. Otherwise he wouldn't have had the heart to buy players. Lin Guang, what do you think about the current Manchester United squad? After a while, Ferguson looked into Lin Guang's eyes and said. The age structure of the players is too old. I think we have to recruit more young players, even as reserve players. Lin Guang replied seriously. Yes. I very much agree with Lin Guang's thoughts. Before, someone said I'm Ferguson, with a bunch of kids, you can't win anything. As a result, as we all know, I and this group of children have forged a generation of Manchester United dynasties. Ferguson recalled picking up a picture frame on the table and his eyes filled with pride. Lin Guang looked forward, only to see the characters in the picture frame, still clearly showing Giggs, Scholes, Bart and Beckham. Sir Ferguson, I Lin Guang will certainly live up to my mission. Revive Manchester United. At this moment, Lin Guang solemnly assured Ferguson. And Ferguson looked at Lin Guang, and his face was full of relief. The next day, Old Trafford. At this moment, the stadium is crowded with people and a sea of red. In the middle of the pitch, a huge stage was erected with trusses. On the table, there is a large square table, and behind the square table is a huge curtain photo. In the middle of the photo, the words retirement ceremony and signing ceremony are readily engraved. In front of the truss platform, countless media reporters have scrambled to set up their own interview machines at this moment. And the reporters of England was most famous Bury Sunshine News and Time newspaper almost fought a big fight in order to compete for the best interview position. At the moment, 10 o'clock in the morning, full. Ferguson, amid the cheers of the fans, walked to the stage in the middle of the stadium. The host respectfully handed Ferguson a microphone and immediately walked away. Hello everyone, I'm your old friend Ferguson. At this time, Ferguson choked up and said the first sentence. At this moment, the whole Old Trafford Stadium was full of warm applause. It's an honor to spend so many years with Manchester United and with the fans. I'm 70 years old now, so I may have to retire. At this moment, Ferguson spoke to everyone on the scene from the bottom of his heartfelt farewell speech. Throughout the pitch at Old Trafford, there was constant applause and sobs from emotion. And this touching retirement ceremony was also broadcast directly to the world through the lens of the live reporters. Finally, I would like to be here and very excited to introduce you to a new friend. His name is Lin Guang. From today, he will be United's new manager. At this time, Ferguson wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes, and then announced to everyone with joy. Lin Guang had been waiting on the side of the court for a long time at this moment. After hearing Ferguson's call, he immediately trotted all the way to Ferguson's side. Lin Guang? It's actually Lin Guang. Will Lin Guang become Manchester United's next coach? It was amazing. Lin Guang. Lin Guang. At this time, the fans in the stadium shouted excitedly. In the middle of the stage, after gently taking Ferguson's microphone, Lin Guang bowed respectfully to Ferguson. Will you give our old lord another round of warm applause? At this time, Lin Guang shouted loudly at everyone. Whoops. Applause. Inside the stadium, Ferguson's name resounded throughout the stadium again. Ferguson smiled and hugged Lin Guang, then left the stage, leaving the stage to the young coach. Hello everyone, I'm Lin Guang. Yes, the Lin Guang who always wins. It is an honor to be Manchester United's coach and to be Sir Alex Ferguson's successor. I'm willing to ride the waves with the team and win all the championships. At this moment, Lin Guang said loudly to everyone in the audience. His expression at this moment is still so stubborn and confident. And inside the stadium at Old Trafford, the flashes are constantly flashing. Episode 79. On the large square table in the middle of the truss platform, 2 contract documents have been prominently placed on it. At this time, the old Glazer and Lin Guang sat side by side. A minute later, the two stood up and shook hands with each other. "Welcome, Coach Lin Guang." Old Glazer smiled in greeting. "Thank you, Mr. Marco. It's an honor to be at Manchester United," Lin Guang quickly replied. At this moment, the camera shutter sound in the scene sounded again and again. After a while, the elder Glazer presented Ferguson with a letter of appointment as a Manchester United honorary coach for life. At this time, the 3 people on the stage smiled again and took a group photo in the same frame. At this point, Sir Alex Ferguson's retirement ceremony and Lin Guang's Manchester United signing ceremony were successfully completed. At this moment, Lin Guang officially became a giant coach for a 5-year term. Next, there is the interview session for reporters. The elder Glazer, Ferguson and Lin Guang sat at the interview table in turn. "Hello, Mr. Glazer. The ceremony as a football coach seems to be the biggest in the history of football. May I ask, what is the point of doing this?" At this time, the reporters in the audience began to ask questions. Because Sir Alex Ferguson retired today, he deserves such a privilege. And then there's Coach Lin Guang, we think he's worth it. Old Glazer answered solemnly. "Sir Ferguson, why did you choose Lin Guang as your successor?" At this time, another reporter continued to ask questions. "Because, Lin Guang, he is very strong. He's the best of all the young coaches I've ever met. I am relieved to hand over the team to him in the future," Ferguson replied with a smile. "Then Coach Lin Guang, why did you choose Manchester United?" At this moment, some reporters continued to ask questions. "Because of Sir Ferguson. Also, Manchester United is here, let me have a sense of belonging." Lin Guang heard this and immediately replied solemnly. "As Manchester United manager, what are Mr. Lin Guang's goals in the future?" Reporters at the scene continued to ask questions. "In office, lead Manchester United to all the titles that can be won." At this time, Lin Guang answered confidently. Lin Guang's crazy words appeared again, and the reporters at the scene began to get excited. "Coach Lin Guang, are you still worried about Mourinho squeezing out your Real Madrid manager? Mourinho said at the signing ceremony at Real Madrid that he was going to teach you a lesson, so now do you have anything you want to say?" At this time, the reporter who had a good deed began to dig a pit for Lin Guang. However, Lin Guang heard the words and did not care at all. "I didn't expect to get here, and I can't escape this problem. I've answered more than once, my strength is above the marshal. Moreover, the position of coach of Real Madrid is that I took the initiative to fire them. My words and deeds are so obvious, do you still ask? Am I not standing tall enough now?" At this moment, Lin Guang replied with some displeasure. However, at this time, the reporters seemed to have succeeded in their plan, and all the shots at this time were focused on Lin Guang's body. "Well, friends of reporters, today is the joining ceremony of Coach Lin Guang. All of your problems are better done around him." At this time, the host of today's ceremony hurried to the side to remind him. "Yes, whether Coach Lin Guang is good or not, let's witness it together in the future. Isn't there a Manchester United League game over the weekend? Let's look forward to Coach Lin Guang's debut at Old Trafford." Immediately afterward, Ferguson followed suit. After speaking, Ferguson patted Lin Guang's shoulder and signaled him not to compete with reporters. Noon, 12 o'clock, full. This unique double ceremony of Ferguson and Lin Guang officially ended. And this ceremony, through the live broadcast of television media, once again shocked the world. At the moment, in an office in Dun City, a middle-aged man angrily turned off the power of the television. "He's the one who will be playing against Manchester United this weekend, the away manager. Lin Guang, on the weekend, I didn't finish with you." At this time, this somewhat obese middle-aged man suddenly roared. At this moment in the network, the news of Ferguson retired and Lin Guang Manchester United head coach has once again become a hot search keyword. World Fan Forum, the post about Lin Guang was once again put on top of the discussion. Lin Guang actually joined Manchester United? It was so unexpected. But it seems that Lin Guang's result of going to Manchester United is not bad. "I didn't expect Sir Ferguson to retire, what a sigh." As Ferguson's successor, the old Jazz seems to be very optimistic about Lin Guang. As a fan of Lin Guang, I finally breathe a sigh of relief for him, because he is finally not a temporary coach anymore. Haha, Lin Guang's signing ceremony is very grand. Fans are almost all over the stadium. Yes, this scale is completely larger than that of the Bernabeu ceremony. Hey, I just want to know how the Real Madrid top brass feels, right now? Ditto. In fact, I am now looking forward to a duel between Lin Guang and Mu Shuai. Ditto. +1, +2. What do you think is the future of Lin Guang after he takes charge of Manchester United? Hey, is that still a question? Of course it's all the champions. Lin Guang, my idol, that must. Oh, I want to be the head of the wall. As a double fan of Real Madrid and Lin Guang, I am now ready to support Manchester United. You're still struggling. I've been a Manchester United fan for 30 years, haha. The grand ceremony at Old Trafford continues to be discussed online. Ferguson and Lin Guang, the old and the young, after completing the inheritance, are now strolling in the small garden in the club. Lin Guangzi, have you always been so reckless in dealing with reporters? As a manager, it's always good to be a little slick sometimes. At this point, Ferguson said with a smile. Haha, old man, you don't know, fans on the internet call me little madman. Some of the reporters' questions are really annoying. But my favorite thing is to punch them in the face by winning, haha. Lin Guang heard the words and also laughed easily. Oh, you. But your kind of personality, the fans should like it. Anyway, Manchester United has handed it over to you, old man. I'm ready to live a good retirement. Ing Chao has no winter break, so in the past few decades, I have not spent Christmas with my family. At this time, Ferguson sighed with some sighs. By the way, the league at the weekend in Tottenham, what's the idea? Ferguson paused in tone, then continued to ask. At this moment, Lin Guang heard the words, but his expression was stagnant. Tottenham Hotspur? Man, are you saying that the weekend league rival is Tottenham? Episode 80. At this time, Lin Guang had a bitter smile on his face. He has not forgotten the angry cry of old Ray when he escaped from the Tottenham club some time ago. What's wrong? The last time your boy went to Tottenham, it wouldn't be a problem, would he? Ferguson looked at Lin Guang's expression and asked doubtfully. There is no trouble, it is to dig up their two main players. Lin Guang smiled bitterly again. Ferguson. Well, for the players, I already asked you about the list of purchases yesterday. That. The cleaning up of the players, have you thought about what it is? At this time, Ferguson quickly changed the subject. This is also the concern of Ferguson before he left office. Because the personnel structure of the team is very important, when buying players, you must also sell or lend some players out. Man, I had a preliminary idea about this, but I wanted to decide on it after examining the players through the weekend game. I'll give you the full list for review before the upcoming winter transfer period. At this time, Lin Guang solemnly replied. No more. Lin Guang, you just do what you think. I'm just an ordinary Manchester United fan right now. Haha, Ferguson laughed freely. Then the two Manchester United coaches, one old and one young, chatted with laughter and kept strolling through the garden until late. The next day, at the Manchester United club's training base. All the players arrived early on the training ground and were all looking forward to their new manager. Different coaches, different styles. Therefore, now in the Manchester United team, whether it is the main player or the substitute player, at this moment is both expectation and some worry. Especially when the winter transfer period arrives soon, it is not known which players will leave and which new players will join the team. Beep. At this point, a whistle sounded. Lin Guang, wearing a red-down Manchester United shirt and holding a small notepad, slowly came to the middle of the training ground. The players who heard the whistle were lined up in front of Lin Guang at this moment. Hello everyone, I'm Lin Guang. In the coming period, I will be your coach. It's an honor to be your colleague and look forward to working together to win more titles for the team. At this time, Lin Guang faced the players who met the training camp for the first time and introduced himself. Good coach. At this time, the players shouted in unison. Soccer field, everything speaks with strength. I hope you can work hard in the future competition. Players with strength and hard work, I will see in my eyes. Even if some of your players may not have liked me that much before, as long as you're strong enough, then you're the main player in my squad. Lin Guang was training directly to all the players at this moment. And Nani, who was standing in the crowd of players, heard the words at the moment, and his face changed. Because Nani clearly remembers that the last time Manchester United went to the Bernabeu and Real Madrid match, he satirized Lin Guang in front of all the reporters. And what makes Providence trick is that Lin Guang has actually become his own head coach now. Okay, now that we all know each other, let's talk about the league that's coming soon. At the weekend, we will play Tottenham Hotspur at home and expect everyone to try to get these 3 points, because it is crucial for us to win the league title. At this time, Lin Guang continued. Yes, coach. The players spoke in unison. I've watched all the recordings of Manchester United's games this season on these 2 days. A lot of the players are in a slump and I expect to see everyone's efforts in the games that follow. Berbatov, in the race, run more, even if you have good personal ability, but you have to run for your teammates. Nani, you're too egotistical in the process of taking the ball, remember the cross after the side dribbles. Also, don't deliberately imitate Si Luo, you have your own technical characteristics. At this time, Lin Guang began to put forward his own requirements for each player. Coach, I object. You're targeting me deliberately because Coach Ferguson has never said that about me. Anyway, my role for Manchester United is very important now. This is, Nani said somewhat unconvincedly. Lin Guang heard the words at this moment and glanced at Nani gently. The old man didn't say anything about you, because he's going to kick you out of the team next season. This earth, without which anyone can turn. Indeed, in the current Manchester United squad, your side breakthrough is an important part of the team. But, without you, United would have won forever either. Nani, you are a strong player, if you train and change well, there will be unlimited achievements in the future. At this time, Lin Guang replied helplessly. Looking at Nani's position, Lin Guang also had to sigh that personality determines fate, even football stars are the same. At this moment, Lin Guang suddenly thought of Nani's reverse assist against Si Luo in his previous life, when he played in the Fruit Tooth national team. Originally, when Si Luo was about to score a god-level goal, Nani inexplicably appeared in the offside position and then went to grab the credit. As a result, this wonderful world wave was judged invalid. At that time, the angry Si Luo directly ripped off the captain's armband and directly smashed it on the turf. Thinking of this plot, Lin Guang was again a helpless bitter smile. Oh, Coach Lin Guang, if you don't have me in the weekend game, your debut may be embarrassing. Because, Tottenham is very strong, and the performance in the Champions League can be indicated. Now Manchester United's attack line, in fact, everyone knows, is the support that Rooney and I are struggling with. At this time, Nani said very confidently. As soon as Nani's voice fell, the other players looked at him with angry faces. Lin Guang did not immediately object, because he knew that Nani was telling the truth. Although the current Nani has not yet reached the state of obscurity in the next few years. But I have to admit that the Fruit Tooth wingers in these 2 seasons are still very strong. In the face of such a thorn-headed player, Lin Guang, as a coach, will not be softened and yielded because of his superior strength. Because in the conversation between Lin Guang and Ferguson the day before, they talked about the use of players in the future. Ferguson only taught Lin Guang one word. The coach is the manager of a team, and he must be kind and not in charge. At this time, Lin Guang just smiled at Nani and then said lightly, yes, you are very strong and you are really an indispensable player for Manchester United at the moment. However, from now on, you can watch the water dispenser on the bench.